I bought a cursed chessboard from an antique shop. What initially felt like a good haggle became a nightmare. My name is Elias, and when it comes to surviving the rigors of life, chess has always been my cope of choice. In a world brimming with chaos, deadlines, breakups, and endless doom scrolling, the board was my realm of sanctuary. 64 squares of pure logic, where kings fall and pawns rise, all under my control. Or so I had led myself to believe. It started last fall, during one of those rainy afternoons that make you crave the old and forgotten. I wandered into an antique shop on the edge of town, the kind with dust-caked windows and a bell that jingled like an unheeded omen. The owner, an elderly man with eyes like marbles that have lost their once splendorous sheen, nodded from behind the counter. "Looking for a challenge?" he rasped with a smirk on his face, as if he knew exactly why I was there. Tucked in a corner, half buried under tarnished silverware, was the chess set. Ebony and ivory pieces, carved with intricate details, knights with snarling horse heads and queens with crowns like thorny vines. The board itself was comprised of mahogany, worn smooth from countless games, with faint scratches that shared a striking resemblance to runes I have read about. I could not identify them, but the exquisite craftsmanship of this etchings magnified my desire to acquire this antique, a desire I struggled not to reveal on my face as I conversed with its seller. "Belonged to a grandmaster," the old man said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Lost his mind in the end. Played one game too many." I laughed it off. Classic salesman pitch. I had already been convinced to buy it. Now it was a game of how low the price could go. His initial price was $333. Employing my strategic bartering skills, I haggled him down to $200. As I left, he muttered something under his breath. "Beware the eternal match." I didn't think much of it. Was this role-playing part of his store's appeal? Well, it worked. I had already begun to fantasize what I would purchase on my next visit. Maybe something too with an aesthetic that would pair well with this new game. That night, back in my cramped apartment, I set up the board on my coffee table. The rain hammered against the window. By move 10, I was deep into the match. Queens exchanged, rooks eyed each other across the board. That's when I heard it, a soft click, like wood on wood. I looked down. My white bishop was gone from c4, not fallen over, gone. My heart skipped. I searched the floor, the couch cushions. Nothing. "Okay, Elias," I muttered. "Calm your excitement." I looked at my cup of tea, which should have been soothing my nerves, but was seemingly failing to do so. I reset the piece from memory and finished the game. White won in a checkmate that felt too easy. As I packed away the set, I swear the black king toppled over on its own, rolling under the table with a clatter. The dream started that night. I was at the board, but my opponent was a shadow, faceless, with hands like claws. Every piece I captured screamed, tiny voices echoing in my skull. "Sacrifice," it whispered. "The game demands sacrifice." I woke up sweating. The clock read 3:33 a.m. My mind whirled to the board's original price, $333. Coincidence, right? The next day, I couldn't shake the anxious cloud around me. Work was a blur. I'm a data analyst, crunching numbers that suddenly looked like chess coordinates. On my lunch break, I Googled the set's markings. Nothing definitive, but one forum post caught my eye. Cursed boards from the 1800s, tied to Res Nura or some forgotten master. Players vanish. Bollocks, I thought. Urban legends spun up for clout. But that evening, I set it up again. This time I played black. Move 1. White's pawn advanced on its own. I blinked, rubbed my eyes. No, it hadn't. Had it? I laughed nervously and responded. But by move 5, it happened for real. The white knight had leaped forward. Not slid, leaped, landing with a thud that vibrated through the table. I jumped back, knocking over my chair. "What the hell?" The room grew cold. Frost was creeping on the window despite the blasting of the heater. I should have stopped, thrown the thing out. But chess players, we're addicts. The challenge pulled me in. "Fine," I whispered. "Let's play." I made my move. The board responded instantly. pieces glided like they were alive, guided by invisible strings. The game was brutal. It anticipated every trap and every gambit I threw at it. I lost a pawn, and outside, a car alarm blared. My neighbor's, the one who always parked too close. Coincidence? Then I captured its rook. A sharp pain stabbed my finger. A splinter from the board? No, blood welled up from nowhere. And in the distance, sirens wailed. Later, the news app pinged. Local accident. Pedestrian hit by reckless driver. The victim? My ex-boss, the one I'd cursed under my breath 100 times. My hands shook as I stared at the board. The captured rook lay on its side, stained red. That night, the dreams intensified. The shadow opponent leaned in, its breath like decay. Each capture claims a soul, it hissed. Play to the end or join the pieces. I woke to find the board set up again, pieces in mid-game position. My white king was surrounded, one move from checkmate, but I hadn't touched it. I tried to research more, dug into chess history, stories of Paul M., the prodigy who went mad, seeing ghosts in every endgame, or the mechanical Turk, that hoax automaton that hid a human inside. But this was no hoax. I posted anonymously on Reddit's r/chess, haunted chess set, pieces move alone. The replies were mixed, trolls laughing, and a few serious ones linking to occult sites. One user DM'd me, destroy it. It's the immortal game reborn, but with real immortals. I couldn't destroy it. The pull was too strong. That evening, compelled by the mystery, I sat down. The board waited, white's turn to move. As I advanced a pawn, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Your move. My blood ran cold. I responded on the board. Click. Another text. Good. But the queen is vulnerable. The game dragged on for hours. With each capture, reality warped around me. I took a bishop, my landlord called, screaming about a burst pipe flooding his apartment below mine. He slipped in the water, broke his arm. Ambulance lights flashed outside. Coincidence? Number. The board was feeding on the last few strands of stability my life had to offer. The irony that this board I had assumed, like many other boards, would provide my life with peace and serenity was injecting chaos into my world with surgical precision, was not lost on me. It captured my night. Pain exploded in my leg. A cramp? No, I collapsed, my knee buckling like it had been kicked by an assailant with a steel-toed boot. I limped to the mirror, a bruise forming, shaped like a hoof. Panic set in. I swept the pieces off, but they rolled back into place one by one. The black king uprighted itself with a defiant click. Finish the game, a voice echoed. Not in my head, in the room. Low, gravelly, like the antique shop owner, but distorted. I played on, sweat dripping onto the squares. The entity was masterful. It forced me into a zugzwang, where every move worsened my position. I sacrificed my queen to buy time. Outside, thunder cracked, and my sister's FaceTime call came through. Elias? The power's out, and, oh goodness, the dog's not breathing. Her golden retriever, Queen, dead from a sudden seizure. I screamed, hurling the board against the wall. It landed perfectly, pieces undisturbed. The final night. I barricaded the door, but the board was there, glowing faintly in the dark. The shadow from my dreams materialized. Not fully, just an outline at the table. Resign and you lose your soul, it said. Win and claim mine. We played. Hours blurred into eternity. It was the game of my life. Feints, deceptions, discovered checks. I cornered its king, whispering check. The shadow laughed. Mate in 3. But I saw it, a flaw in its defense. With trembling fingers, I moved my rook. Checkmate. The shadow shrieked, dissolving into smoke that seeped into the board. The pieces trembled, then laid still. I had claimed victory. Relief washed over me. I boxed the set, drove to the river at dawn, and hurled it in. I watched it sink. But that night, as I lay in bed, a click echoed from the closet. I opened my closet to find waiting for me. The board, dry and waiting. A new piece on the white side. A pawn carved in my likeness, eyes wide in terror. The game never ends. The sacrifices are steep, and the rewards are hollow.